Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Security Table. And today we really need to unpack Izar's purchasing habits on the internet. I have a feeling that he sees an ad and he's like, that's something for me. So Izar, what
the
we should
equivalent of late night QVC purchases.
Seriously, like it's practical.
Is that a sidekick? Is that a sidekick? One of those old phones?
But that's what I was thinking when I bought it. Okay, so with this, I connect to my phone and I have a nice mouse with separate buttons, right and left, and buttons here on the eyebrows. Full keyboard.
Wait, on the eyebrows?
Yeah, here on the eyebrows. That's
what they call it. It's like an infomercial. It's like he already knows the script. But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
No, there isn't. That's all it is. But wait, there isn't anymore.
So,
but the good thing is that you're connected to your Android phone, and immediately you have a new desktop.
And immediately you get attacked by how many viruses and malware, and you've checked its firmware thoroughly for...
What's no dudes?
Uh-huh.
Wait, does that mean it's secure?
As we know, Bluetooth is still unsecure.
Fully secure.
I was thinking the same thing.
It exposes your data over Bluetooth LE for everybody to know. Full control.
And then he just left the show. Oh no, wait, he's back.
I can't connect. You guys get it rolling. I'm getting, or having a...
He's having a moment.
I'm having a wardrobe.
I thought your false teeth were coming out or something.
I think he's trying to pull a Matrix.
What is he trying to do? Like, is he the architect or what? Like,
or
is he Morpheus?
I don't know. He's trying to be. Oh no, he's playing the guy from Hackers he had a strap on and a strap of on for his bag, and a keyboard attached to it, and he was roller skate around New York.
I could see Izar roller skating around with a keyboard.
Did I ever do that?
Do you know how to roller skate or keyboard or skateboard?
Roller skate, but with a keyboard? Wait, we're talking that little Casio CS10 keyboard or a full 101 keys keyboard?
I mean, it's better theater.
It's from Hackers. It will be from Hackers. The guy from Hackers.
Oh, that guy. No. Okay, so what are we talking about today?
So we got this article from, where is it from? Somewhere. CSO Online.
Oh, it's a nice source.
It's entitled CISOs Rethink Hiring to Emphasize Skills Over Degrees and Experience. So wait, hold on. I didn't read this title closely when we first talked about doing this. It's like...
Yeah, did you read that?
It's like Jerry McGraw, like you had me at the title here. Like, wait, skills over degrees and experience? How can you have skills without experience?
Yeah, so that's the nature of our show today.
Oh, I figured it out. Okay.
So, skill versus experience. And so if we look at experience, I think here as principles. So it seems that the hiring trend that they were suggesting here is finding people who know what to do, which buttons to click, which APIs to call, what tasks to perform, but not those that have a background that teaches them principles so that they can figure out what to do later on the job. Don't need a college degree, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of experience. Doesn't matter if you don't know which buttons to press.
But are we talking, one thing that I didn't get from the article, are we talking all jobs or entry jobs only?
I don't know. That's a good question. If it's entry jobs, does it make a difference? I mean, think about that for a moment.
If it's entry jobs, so from my personal experience hiring people, computer science graduates are not really expecting to be hired for entry jobs.
Do you tell?
What people are most looking for is someone This is not going to go well today.
Wait, are you literally biting your lip?
Better not to guess what's happening.
Okay, because it's like there's like that episode of The Office where Jim does that like 3 times in a row, and he just finally just gives up and goes, "I'm going home. That's it. I'm going home."
I'm pretty close to that.
You're
So,
home.
anyway.
Aren't you? You're somewhere.
Right. Though, anyway, hopefully you can understand me now. But
I just
at the end
noticed
of the day,
I just noticed your chair says GTFO, GTF office.
okay, so we are noticing way too many things around here. So stop noticing. So we were talking about the entry level or not, and I think that even if we pull things to the flavor of the hour, which is fire everybody and just have an AI do everything, people are just hiring for, at the entry level at least, for people who can push the button and get things running and working and operate all the nifty and nice tools that we have sucking our money and time.
Yeah.
So in that sense, do you really need a certification? Do you really need a degree? No, you need to know the tool, right? You need to know which.
Let's back up and explore what the value of a degree is. So each of us here has college degrees. Some of us have multiple college degrees.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about the value of a college degree as a hiring manager, and I think at last count, I've hired about 50 people in my career. So I've had a chance to hire people at a lot of different levels, a lot of different, from executives all the way to entry level folks. And when I think about a degree, one, I don't really care about where it's from. I'm not impressed by the fact that you went to some Ivy League school or something. That has no bearing on my decision process. I think of a degree as proof that you can show up somewhere for a period of time and complete a number of steps in a row. That's the value that I see of the degree. And yes, did you learn about, philosophy and art history, and are you a well-rounded human being? I guess, but that doesn't really make me money as a business owner, right? But so when you have a degree, I'm like, okay, at least this person could show up somewhere for a couple of years in a row and tick some boxes along the way. Then we start to get into the interview process to figure out what you really know and what you can do for my business to make it successful. So, but what do you guys see as the value of the degree?
I think really it isn't necessarily that you come out of a college degree with a ton of knowledge. You come out with the ability to acquire knowledge. So if you're looking for somebody to fill the creative role, to also fill creative roles. Yes, they have the ability to work through a well-defined process. They should have the ability to work through a well-defined process, but they should also have the ability to figure out what goes wrong in that process, how to, if deviations occur, they can get back on track without, what's the next step in the scripts that I'm missing, kind of thing. And also to fill more creative roles like, architecture. In this case, I guess we're talking, in this area, things like architecture or design or, how to deal with people. So I think the college degree is an enabler. Most college programs, I think, are enablers for tasks that are not, strictly procedural.
Okay. I would say that in the present configuration, college degrees are a ticket to go past the recruiter gatekeeper.
True. Which is an AI gatekeeper these days, from what I understand.
Right.
Today it is.
So if you don't have that degree, a lot of times you're still caught not being able to get through.
And after I reached a certain level in my career, I started seeing that every new job that I went to, one of the first things they did was to actually call the university and check that the degree existed and that I actually had it.
Oh, that's harsh.
As part of the background.
Well, because so many people are lying about it, though. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's not us, the people that have them. It's the people who are lying and saying, "Oh, I have a degree from Stanford." and then somebody calls the reference check and like, we've never heard of this person. They didn't go to this
But
school.
notice, in my opinion, that goes back to the value, because if you feel that you can lie about something like that and get away with it, then to me that means that the degree itself is not giving you anything intrinsic that if you didn't have, somebody would notice. It's
Interesting.
just, again, the tickets to get into the door.
Interesting. That's a good conclusion right there. That it's not if you can fake that you have it and nobody can tell the difference, then what's the value of it?
Exactly.
Wow. And
Yeah,
there's
but
a whole
that rooster that thing would come home to roost. I mean, as soon as that person gets into the job and is asked to do something,
necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Unfortunately.
They may totally be able to do it. I mean,
Unfortunately, I wish that was the case, Matt. And I think people working for any of us, that is the case. But man, there is just
Matt,
people just
let me
get away with whatever they want these days.
let me give you an example. This happened 30 years ago. I'm working in the university's data center, and the door was open. Somebody comes in and says, "Hey, Czar, I just got my PhD. Oh, that's awesome. Good for you." And he goes, and this actually happened. I got my BSc here. I got my master's here. I got now my doctorate here. I have never seen the computer that we work on. Is this it? And he pointed to the air conditioning that was turned off at the moment.
So when we're talking
Because
degrees,
it was
you
Put in
guys,
the air conditioner.
because it was big and it had lights on it and it was off at the moment.
you
No
guys
way,
didn't
man.
specify what degree, because there's a limit. Like what my answer, and I think Chris's answer was for bachelor and maybe master's. But when you get up to that rarefied air of PhD, there's a lot of assumption about capability there.
Yeah.
It just means that you know a lot about some very small thing.
You should be able to take somebody's PhD back if that happens. That example you
And
just
hit
gave.
them with it.
Yes, you should be able to be like, all right, listen, you don't have a PhD anymore. You're going to go back to, do not pass go, do not collect $200, back to square one.
I mean, we
over.
know some very smart people with PhDs. We work with them closely.
Sure.
There are some, though, that are in the wrong position for what they know and what they do.
To be very honest, back in that time, there was a distinct difference between computer science and computer engineering. And
Sure.
most of the uses of a computer to the computer science people were to write articles in LaTeX and not to actually get stuff done. So, yeah, the guy got away with it. But my point was that, and now I forgot my point, but something along the lines of
Practical versus
practical versus theoretical, or I think that I don't know if fortunate is the term, but because of the way that I came into the work, into the career, I think that's the most talented people in this field that I have known growing up did not have degrees.
Yeah. I've known some that were mentors of mine that were either they didn't have degrees or they didn't have degrees in anything technology related. They had one of the guys that was one of my mentors had a master's in music, but he grew up in a time when there was no security. There was no cybersecurity degrees or anything. He would have been in the university system in the 1950s.
And now that you mention it, my first mentor, my guru, the man who I value above probably all other mentors that I had, he did not have a degree, and he was one of the people that pushed the most powerfully for me to get mine finished.
He saw the value in it then.
I believe so, yeah. Something that I didn't see at the time.
So I think what I'm hearing from both of you is degrees can be valuable if the individual who gets them knows what to do with them is the wrong way to say this, but I don't know how else to describe it. Right? It's being able to apply it. So the degree itself
is huge.
Is the gatekeeper tasks that, or the bottleneck for HR. But the degree and what it teaches requires something from the individual to apply it in a way that makes sense. And so this brings me back to the topic at hand, and actually a different article that I didn't share with you guys beforehand. I'm not going to share it now because I can't find it, but it talked about the one critical skill that people are looking for is critical thinking skills. And where do you get critical thinking skills? That comes from, I think, in part, from the degree program, right? The program teaches you how to think.
No.
Critical thinking skills begin when you're a small child.
Certainly, but
Yes.
the college process, the process going through college is supposed to. Okay, when I went to college, it was teaching you how to think critically, and how to apply it critically.
So I would say that when you went to college, the world was a very different place.
Yes, that's true. We're not talking today or anywhere in the past like 2 decades.
Nowadays, it's learn by rote or some other kind of learning that I don't want to touch in any way, shape, or form. But I would say that critical thinking is not a valued skill or a cultivated skill in today's.
Well, so let's bring that back to cybersecurity. I'll pose a question to both of you. How much of cybersecurity function, I guess, product security, cybersecurity, threat modeling, whatever, the whole field, the whole technical domain here, how much of it is rote and procedural? And how much of it requires critical thinking in your minds?
Now it's a very good time in the history of this whole thing to ask that question, I think, because now we are seeing where AI is getting in and staying and not getting kicked out again. And those are the places that I would say do not need the critical thinking. Where AI manages to encroach and stay, you don't need critical thinking.
So highlight a couple of those areas. Are you thinking like in the Security Operations Center, or are you thinking about?
Let's open a parenthesis here. We don't want to offend anybody. We're not saying that.
I'm not. No, I'm asking you to. I'm asking you to describe places where you think
Did we change our approach? What do you mean we don't want to offend anybody? We usually offend somebody every episode. What are you talking about?
No. But when we offend people, it's more like dast is dead. It's not like the job that you're doing could be done by an AI. Well, I mean, and nothing would get
listen, it's the reality of it's. We're not going to sit here and lie. Oh no, we don't think your job could be taken by AI. I'm sorry, security operations, that whole discipline is rife to be optimized by AI.
Optimized. I'm going to go out and say the job as a human could do it optimally, should not be liable to be replaced by an AI. It can, and you will get perhaps 90%. Or in some cases, you go to 110%.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on the person. Right? But if it's being done at a level and in a way that is what we would like to see more than less, then it shouldn't be able to be replaced by an AI.
Well, because
I think we have a trust problem. I'm not ready to sign off on any cybersecurity function, or really any function, being outsourced 100% to AI until we figure out how to see inside of it. And right now, you can't see inside of an LLM to know, can I run something twice and watch the repeatableness of the answer that comes from it? And so until I get that level of transparency and visibility, I will not authorize, in my world, letting anything be 100% AI controlled.
So just a note, so first off, this is a great conversation, but I think we've strayed from the original. I was asking not is it rote and procedural because it can be replaced by AI, but is it rote and procedural that skills-based learning is the way that you need to hire for it?
I think it's... Go ahead.
Let's put it like this. Even in a SOC situation, okay, threat hunting.
And by the way, I was using stock as an example when you said
because
it's
it's the thing that we are used to think of as rote working, right? You get input, you look at inputs, you get out. But threat hunting, for example, sure, if you have all the indicators and everything has been cataloged and everything is known, it's pattern matching, right? Machine can do it, fine. But the new stuff, or the stuff that doesn't quite sit in the pattern, many times you say, hey, this was found by smell, or this was found by intuition. Somebody felt that something was wrong.
Yep.
Or we got an email from a guy that we never got an email from, or a friend of ours in FBI called and said, hey, we saw something outside. That kind of thing, that kind of serendipity that many times we like to talk about and say, this saved my skin. That we're not going to get that with AI, and a computer science degree doesn't give it.
Yeah. So
A couple of months, a couple of years in the field, talking to people, feeling stuff, that's what gives it to you.
and the best folks that I've seen in those jobs are the ones who are creating things to help them do their job better. So they're writing scripts to search the data in a way that nobody's ever done it before. So there's that human ingenuity. So that I would say is a skills based, but the critical thinking is those that have the high level of critical thinking are the ones that are able to write the scripts, to find the stuff, to optimize. And ultimately, let's be honest, those are the folks that are getting promoted. The SOC is a gateway to the rest of the company. It just is. We can say we don't like it, but that's the reality. A lot of entry level positions start in the SOC, but those people that are optimizing and using critical thinking are being offered jobs in other parts of the cybersecurity team because their value is being calculated.
But now you just close the loop.
I always close the
Smart people writing the script that's going to optimize their job. That script gets translated into a procedure, and that gets AIs out of people.
No, because there's always new scripts to write, right? And that's the thing about AI right now. Everybody thinks AI is the future. AI's never had an original thought. When it has an original thought, then we can start talking about how it's going to eliminate people from things. Now, can it eliminate truck drivers? Yes. But that's because when I think about having AI or self-driving trucks and things like that, delivering trucks, yes, there's some logistical things that have to happen. But when somebody's driving a truck to deliver something, they're not creating new processes or they're not coming up with new ways to deliver stuff on the fly, right? And so it's really that if you need critical thinking, that's like for me an example that AI can't take that thing over because AI can't critically think.
But at the same time, do you want AI taking control of all the 18-wheelers out there across the roads, the same roads that you drive?
I mean, coming back to my original thing I said too is until we have the ability to see inside of it, I won't trust it, and I won't sign off on driving next to an 18-wheeler. Now, do I think that self-driving 18-wheelers are going to take over the transportation industry? 100%. Do I think it's going to happen tomorrow? Nope. It's 25 years in the future. And everybody that I say that in front of keeps saying, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, just watch. To do something like that, there is a public trust. And until the public trust tips in the direction of being able to do that, the government is going to stop that type of thing from happening. One, you're going to have your unemployment rate's going to go. I don't know how many truck drivers are in the U.S. There's a lot of them. So if you flip the switch and said we're going self-driving on all the trucks and we're taking the people out of it, your unemployment rate's jumping by multiple points.
Although interestingly enough, that same argument probably isn't being made for autonomous taxis. There are how many taxis, or there are how many? Well, planes are a different matter, right? There's a number of fatality metric when it comes to airplanes versus cars and trucks, right? But which pushes that decision, I think, further and further down the road. But that argument that you just made about truck drivers could be said for taxis as well, but nobody's saying, taxis need to be a protected
Well, that's because taxis have been replaced by a marketplace of gig workers who are delivering the service. And so there's those gig workers will likely would migrate to other gig opportunities.
They have, right? I mean, DoorDash exists because they've taken the taxi service and applied it to food delivery.
Yeah.
Right. So they
Which
do
is
value
not
add
as
on
easy
top
to
of
have
it.
an AI get out of the car and walk in and pick up the food.
Right.
Now, I mean, in our area, we have drone deliveries that are in testing. So they're delivering DoorDash with drones. Unfortunately, not to my house. I'm too far away.
Interesting on the truck drivers too, right? Some portion of truck drivers, all truck drivers today, if I understand correctly, have to repair or at least are responsible for when their truck breaks on the road with a load, with a haul, that they have to, put all the safety cones out. They have to do all the figure out
correct.
diagnostics and things like that. And so an AI would not be able to do that either. So you'd have some portion of the truck driving workforce that would be still necessary to do maintenance, but that may be localized as opposed to, long haul kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then there's some differences between like if you own your own truck versus company trucks. And I think in the self-driving world, you're going to see a lot of the individual operator owners being crushed by the mega corporations, which is just what happens in every environment where somebody can dominate a particular part of the industry. And so
so here's a question. Okay.
No, I would just say that I wouldn't want to be an independent operator and get to a position of, dude, where's my truck? If the AI just drove away.
I mean, but if you could afford to have a self-driving truck as an independent operator, the amount of money, you can make almost twice as much money, because with the Department of Transportation and human drivers, a human driver can only drive 14 hours in a row. And then they have to go offline for 10 hours, I believe. And then they also have a limit where they hit a certain number of days in a row. And then they have to go into a 40-hour reset cycle where they're they're out of the car, out of the truck for 40 hours. 38 hours.
That's why my Amazon overnights never is.
But that's a safety thing. I mean,
yeah, 100%. But if you go to self-driving trucks where it's AI driving the truck, guess what? AI doesn't need to take a break and have a 40-hour shutdown time. Now, from a maintenance perspective, they'll have to do that. But yeah, but coming back around, like the whole reason I went to this example is, and I'm not diminishing truck drivers, they're the heartbeat of what makes things show up at your door. Like without truck drivers, Amazon Prime doesn't show up overnight or 2-day delivery on your, because that stuff's not being flown around. It's being trucked at a super highly optimized perspective to get it to your door, right? So I'm not diminishing what they do.
You could extend that argument to trains as well, right? I mean, it doesn't take a lot of people to drive a freight train.
Yeah.
But, same thing, right? But anyway, go on with your, why did you go here from cybersecurity to truck driving?
Well, I mean, because it's a skills thing, right? We were talking about skills, and yes, driving a truck as a human being does require a bunch of skills, and you could argue that critical thinking, if you have to fix your truck on the side of the road, now most people don't do that. Most drivers just call for maintenance, and maintenance comes and they have people to fix it. But when I think about the Security Operations Center person and the application of critical thinking, I just see a lot more critical thinking being applied in the cybersecurity use case.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm being maybe too stereotypical in a positive way, because there's that's a weird way to describe it. I don't know. My brain's not operating.
You're positively stereotypical
this morning, but it's stereotypical to say that everybody. Like, not everybody applies critical thinking in every job in cybersecurity. There are people that are at the top of their industry and people that are not. But I would argue that a lot of what's driven my own success is the ability to critically think about things and come up with solutions. That's, I'm never the smartest guy in the room or smartest person in the room. Never happens. But I'm the one who knows how to ask the right questions, and I can get everybody marching in a direction.
It's funny.
For success.
It's funny you say that. Everyone loves to say that, but what's smart?
For me, it's true though. Come
What's
on,
smart? But what's smart?
I
in
let's
this
see.
area.
I graduated high school with a 2.3 grade point average.
Oh, let's not off degrees, please.
Oh yes, yes. Let me talk about my first year of college, where I left my first year of college with a 0.9 GPA.
Dude, you had a lot
What
of
about-
fun. You had a lot of
what
fun,
about-
though. Admit it.
what
I
about
know
the-
you did.
What about me having to repeat infinitesimal calculus 6 times?
I don't even know what a
Because-
decimal
Yeah, I don't
decimal.
even know what that is.
What
Okay?
is
You could
that?
give me 5 chances. Like, is
What
that
is that?
like?
I can't even say it. What is it?
Yeah, say it again.
It's infinitesimal.
In
very,
It's a
very
small
small.
calculus. How do you even see
It's
it?
a very big thing, but it's very interested in things that had that happen at a very, very small scale.
See, I have no idea what you're even,
And to
what you're
me,
even
it's like
talking
go
about.
big or go home, so I couldn't care less.
So what is your degree's in math? Is it not?
And it's comp sci with a minor in math, but they only gave me the minor in math on the condition that I never try to use it.
That's fair. I could see that. That makes sense.
It was like everybody getting the degrees, and it was with honors came my name, and it was with much regret. So
At least they didn't
True
ask for it
story.
back. They didn't ask for it back. So
Not yet.
yeah, I don't think that they know that they have the capability, but anyway. So back to hiring people and all that stuff, and an AI and whatnot. So what's our scale of preference here? You hiring somebody new to join your security
Mhm.
department in any entry level job.
I got some
So
thoughts.
we know that we are looking for critical thinking,
Mhm.
but it could be argued that critical thinking is something that we might help a good candidate that doesn't have it develop in the job, right? That's what we are around for.
One of the things that I like that was in this article was this idea of assessment-focused hiring. And so scenario-based interviews, custom platforms, tailored tests to evaluate competencies. And this could be a sticky situation because, like, especially in the creative world, often people will try to use this to get free work done, which I would never use this. I offered to pay people.
I've seen this
let
before.
let me walk you through my kind of approach for certain jobs that I'm hiring for. We do the initial interview. We do some coworker and other leaders interviewing the person. If we decide, like somebody that was creating content for me, like learning content, we would then give them a homework assignment. And it was only this, we only gave it out a few times because like people had to basically be, okay, we like the person, we like the candidate. Now we need to see if they could do what we need them to do in the job. And so we would give them, and I would tell them, do not spend more than 2 hours on this. Now I'm sure people went away and did, but I told, and that's on them, right? Because like I wasn't going to set the expectation. You should spend 2 weeks working on this for free. Like I just wanted to see, could they translate what we were trying to do, what we needed them to do, into something tangible that I could see. Okay, I see a thread connecting the two things, that what I gave them the assignment and what they came up with. Now, some people went way overboard and did a lot with it, but they ended up getting the job most of the time because they demonstrated they could do it. So for me, that became a very crucial part of being able to understand, can somebody do the basic function of the job that I need them to do? And we had a lot of success hiring people like that. Some people we never hear from them again. Strangest thing.
You see, the interesting thing to me here is that you were in a position to take advantage of that because you knew how to interpret the results
What do you mean take advantage of it?
of that process of like being able to get good people because they gave you good answers, because you were in a position to understand those answers coming in.
Oh yeah.
But-
So I had an unfair advantage, you're saying?
No.
I'm confused. When if you're interviewing anybody, you should be in a position to take advantage of the answers they give you and interpret what they tell you.
You use the word should very, very liberally here.
I do.
The problem is that in reality world, a lot of people ask questions that they don't know the answers for. And they are going more for, am I getting an answer that sounds plausible? Or is this person just stuttering and looking around and not looking me in the eye, and they
Well,
don't have an idea of what they're talking about.
Shame on a hiring manager if you don't know the core subject matter that you're hiring for.
Oh man, oh man.
I have.
How many times have you seen? How many
I
times
made
have
somebody
you seen
cry. I made
managers?
someone almost cry once in an interview
Once
because-
you've done it wrong.
because listen, in my world, if you put something on your resume, it's fair game. I'm coming for you. I'm going to ask you questions about it, and I'm going to understand how much you actually know about it. And the funny thing is, sometimes I maybe don't understand it that well, but I'll ask questions to see if you do. And this guy, I just caught him in
Always.
3 lies in a row of things that were on his resume. He's like, well, okay, I don't really have any experience in that. By the third one, he looked like he was going to cry. But I'm like, dude, you wrote it on your just be truthful on your resume. You
So-
would have been fine.
Once upon a time, Matt interviewed me for a job,
What?
and I
never knew
came
this
out of the
story.
interview. I came out of the interview thinking, finally, somebody who asks questions that they know the answers to.
Nice.
I did. I must have had I must have had a monster that day or something, and I was completely on. But
Several actually. And he came out of the interview thinking that I wasn't technical enough, so I probably didn't manage to answer the question well.
Oh, did you get the job? is
we
the
still
question.
hired him.
Okay. Even
you
against
to
Matt's
see-
will.
No, for you to see that the market has been shaky ever since. Well, it's not any of it.
This was also quite a while ago.
It was quite a while ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
More than an AI year ago.
Way more than a year ago.
That's a long time. All right. Any final thoughts here as we on this kind of idea of skills over degrees?
Good or,
Did we-
is this a good idea or a bad idea? For some roles, this is probably okay. For some roles, this is not going to end well, in my opinion. That's my final thought.
Agree with Matt. And I add that we have been having the discussion a long time, and nothing changes. People
True.
still get good hires for bad places, bad hires for good places, and it's going to keep being like this. Well, now Lord only knows what's going to happen for the next a few years, but if the pattern keeps, I think that it's going to keep being like this.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the reality of it, but I don't know. I mean, the article even mentions this is a very small percentage of people that are taking this new approach right now. So we'll just have to wait and see if more people fall on this skills over degrees thing. I don't know. I don't know that I see it happening, but
Skills over experience, which is
skills over experience.
which
It seems so tied together.
it's also, I mean, it's also potentially an ageist trap, right?
You're opening up a whole other can of worms there, Matt.
I know. We're all of the age where we're all potential victims of it.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah, I
whole
did
other
not
episode.
want to start my week thinking about that.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode right there. So
But hey, one thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite everybody to go back into the archives and see our episode about, what was it? Having security guild.
Yeah, acting is it like a trade? Is it like one of the trades?
oh yeah.
I was thinking
We-
about that too. Exactly, right? Because then it makes sense. You set a baseline, and those are the skills you need, and then you have value add with the critical thinking and the people skills. It's people, you deal with people and not the tech, and it makes sense.
Yeah, and you prove your skills along the way, not to your employers, but to your peers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get from one level to the next, it's your peer saying you're entitled to that level, not your workplace.
And hiring managers then get the benefit of that. You have a trusted individual who's met a bar that's measurable, and you have and so you get a level of trust that you can then take advantage of. And I don't mean take advantage of in a bad way. I mean it's a benefit
Yeah.
from.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll have to leave it here for today. Thanks, folks, for listening to another episode of The Security Table.